Lend your ear, open your mind, you're gonna learn a lot about your past and yourself you didn't know before. The past affects your future.
Moses was, in fact, an Ethiopian. We were all lied to. The Ubu tribe in South America are by far the most influential tribe of human history. They are a monotheistic people, the first people to introduce the whole concept of one God. They played a greater role than any other humans on this planet of driving the course of human cultures and civilization, because we know that civilization it started in South America. Fam, I'm going to share with you some of Christopher Columbus's thoughts that he jotted down in his journal about the Americas. When he went on his third voyage, he became convinced that the river Orinoco, located in what is now Venezuela, which is South America, was the northernmost point of the Garden of Eden. On August 17, 1498, making his way west-north from the coast of South America near Trinidad, Christopher Columbus concluded that the land that he had been skirting about for the previous weeks was none other than the Garden of Eden. He says that according to the surviving transcription of his record, these are his words, and he says that that land did not have islands in it, and it assures him that that is the terrestrial paradise that was spoken of. Because all men say that it's at the end of the Orient, and this is where we are. So around in that area, South America, in between the waters of the Caribbean and South America, Trinidad area, this is where he's saying is the real true Orient. Because we know that they have changed places, names, dates, times, absolutely everything. And so now you know that the Orient is over there. And again, we are over here in the Americas. We're not in Africa. Africa is not the motherland. That is not where the Garden of Eden is at. Christopher Columbus even said so in his notes. I did a video about Luthia. That's the oldest skull that they found, and it was a woman. There is so much proof that these people actually existed. Anthropologists in the 1940s, they were in Bolivia, and they actually discovered a group of indigenous Indians, as they called our people, in the area of Bolivia and Peru. It says the Peruvian-Bolivian border. So they actually inhabited that whole area, even up into Argentina. They lived. And so they actually determined that this group of people, they were called the Uru tribe, and they spoke Amari. Let's discover which language Amari is. The Amari language is none other than Amharic. Now, who speaks the Amharic language? It's the modern day Ethiopians that actually speak that language. They are in modern day Africa today. They speak Amharic, which is also Amari. This is the same language that the Uru people that we're talking about right now spoke. Amharic was the dominant language of the Uru tribe in South America. Just a side note, the Uru kingdom grew into a much larger, a bigger, well-known kingdom that today we call Babylon. Where's Babylon, y'all? We are in Babylon in America. So let's take a look at some of the members of the Uru. We have the Iroquois. Now, you know that the Iroquois people started in South America, and they have also lived in Canada, Ontario, upstate New York, Pennsylvania. The Iroquois people were made up of 5 and later 6 different groups of indigenous people, or AKA Indians: the Cayuga, the Mohawk, the Oneida, the Onondaga, and also the Seneca people. We know that the Iroquois people are not in modern day Africa, right? They're in the Americas. Who else other than the Iroquois that was along with the Uru people, spoke the same languages, had the same cultures? Moshe. Moshe, yeah, same guy. And guess what? It was rumored amongst the Uru that that magical, mystical land that they longed for was found. And it was time for them to set off so they can go and inhabit the land. The Uru people longed to leave the land that they were at in South America, Bolivia, Peru area, because they were subjected to droughts. There was malaria breakouts, and just the land would not produce anything. In fact, they even ended up having to go to Egypt to get food, which that's also recorded in the scriptures, because there was a great famine. What you're looking at are the remains of an ancient city that was found by anthropologists. Anthropologists found it in pristine condition, left abandoned. Here's an amphitheater. There was also a total of 6 pyramids and mounds that were found in the area, and we all know who the mound builders are. Obviously, they are the copper-colored indigenous so-called Negroid peoples. Anthropologists notated that there was even a space carved out for their oracle, which is the Ark of the Covenant. Don't forget that Abram had a family of priests. Anthropologists notated that it was home to about 3,000 people. So they felt as though this mystical land was going to bring them something completely opposite. Let's examine why the Uru people referred to the land of Canaan as the mystical land without sin. The Uru people felt as though this place was a land flowing with milk and honey. There was wheat, barley, grapes, fruits, figs, pomegranate, olive oil, honey, everything that they ever wanted and more was there. And don't forget that when the spies went to the land of Canaan to check out the area to see if they would be able to take it over, they noticed that there were some huge grapes there. They were so huge that they had to put them on a pole, and 2 guys had to carry the grapes up out of there. So there is no doubt that this was fertile land. And even to this very day, this land is very fertile. How do we know the land was fertile? Let's take a look at the meaning of some words. As you can see in Numbers 13:29, the spies were sent out to scout out the land of Canaan, which is in the valley of Eshcol. Valley. Keep that in mind. And Eshcol means cluster of grapes. Now we know that the spies found grapes that were so large that they couldn't carry them out by themselves. They had to actually put them on a pole and carry them out together. 2 men. You can't tell me that that soil was not fertile. Child, I need some of that soil. They were in the Eshcol Valley. So let's take a look at the word Eshcol. And it means cluster of grapes. So it's actually located in the valley of Hebron, where it's rich in vineyards. Fruit vineyards. In a previous video, I showed you how by flipping the maps, we'll see that they hid from us that modern day California is actually the land of Canaan. So I took a look in California. And California is America's food-producing powerhouse. It has exceptionally rich soil, fertile soil, and it's ideal for food production. California is America's food-producing powerhouse. It produces the food for the Americas. Now, I want you to keep in mind that Eshcol is a valley in the land of Canaan. And California is part of the land of Canaan, which is in California, Nevada, and Utah. So why not take a look at Napa Valley? Eshcol Valley, Napa Valley? Okay, so what does it say? Napa Valley, welcome to the world's famous wine growing region. Now we all know that you can't grow wine, but you can certainly grow grapes, and you can make wine from the grapes. In Napa Valley, California, there are over 400 wineries there. They are world-class wine growing region, as you can clearly see here. They have high quality wines, and Napa Valley is rich in vineyards. So let's check out the etymology for the word Napa. It means homeland. Whose homeland might that be? It also means house and motherland. Would that be the motherland of the ancient Israelites, perhaps? The land of their promise? Sounds like it to me. So they're saying that this land was ready for them to go and inhabit. So they're getting ready to go to this land. The rumor, a land without sin, triggered a mass exodus of the Urus from South America to Egypt and on to the Middle East. It was a monumental event, and clearly it's in the scriptures as well. Over a period of more than 20 years, thousands of Uru families made the long trip to the Middle East. Well, let's see who went along with them. Another famous name that went along on the Exodus that was also in Uru was Abram. He was the forerunner of the Hebrews. He led a family of Uru priests, and we know his name is Abram, later named Abraham, and they were priests. They were mostly Urus that went with them on the Exodus, and also the Moshe and their families, and they said there were African families that were amongst them. They all took the trip together. And it says they wandered through the grasses for several moons. Finally exhausted from their search, they settled on a land today that is called what? Canaan. And we know that Canaan is actually in Utah, Nevada, and California. That's the real land of Canaan. Don't get it twisted with Israel. Keep in mind, Israel is the people. The land is Canaan. So those people who call themselves the chosen people, and they're in modern day Israel, and they just got kicked out, by the way.
That all Israeli settlements in the occupied Palestinian territory are illegal and must be dismantled, and that all Israeli settlers must be evacuated.
So that's obviously not their land. They just got kicked out. That's not the place. So if that's not the place, and the people who established the modern day Israel as the so-called place where all the biblical things happened, then where did it really happen? If it really didn't happen there, because it wasn't called Israel until those people came and settled there through the Balfour Declaration of 1948, right? Around the time they started coming. I think that the Balfour Declaration was established around like 1917 or something like that, but they didn't start moving there until like the 1940s. So clearly, the true land of Canaan is in America, United States of America. Keep in mind that the Urus, the Moshes, Abram, and all the rest of the families later became known as the Hebrews. Let's face it, our future on TikTok is extremely uncertain, so please, fam, stop what you're doing. Take the time to subscribe to me on YouTube right now. Brutally Honest History Lover. I just can't bear the thought of not seeing or hearing from you again. Or click the link on the main page of my TikTok account.